Danganronpa is a visual novel that focuses on groups of high school students as they're trapped inside a school and forced to kill each other to escape. Ever since its release in 2010, Danganronpa has become extremely popular, evolving past a simple game franchise. But as the fandom grew, so did the controversies within it, from fans harassing and doxing each other over simple disagreements, to a large creator being accused as a predator, to even a popular cosplayer murdering their friend. These are some of the most disturbing incidents that happened in the Danganronpa fandom, and they'll only get worse as the video goes on. If you spend even the smallest amount of time around the Danganronpa community, you'll quickly find multiple posts across different platforms claiming that the fandom is toxic, with the general consensus being yes, the community can be relatively toxic, but is there any proof to back up these claims? Well, I'm talking about it, so I think you already know the answer. During 2020, Danganronpa had gotten a resurgence in popularity thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown, resulting in many new fans joining the fandom and discovering the franchise for the first time, one of whom was Bijou Mike. Bijou Mike is a popular Let's Play YouTuber with over 3 million subscribers, and in April of 2020, he would upload his first part of his playthrough of Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, with the video amassing over 1 million views. Danganronpa was a highly requested game by his fans, and while some enjoyed his playthrough, others would take issues with it. Some fans would get upset over how Bijou Mike interacted with and played the game, getting upset over details such as his pronunciation of names and non-censoring the spoilers. The Danganronpa fandom is kinda similar to the Undertale fandom, where if you don't play or interact with the game a certain way, a lot of fans get really upset over it. These fans try to control how someone experiences these games in a way that they think the game should be experienced, and when that isn't the case, it leads to people like Bijou Mike becoming hated figures within the community simply for experiencing the game differently, and that hatred would eventually reach a boiling point after his playthrough of Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls. These controlling fans would become upset over his alleged shipping of Toko Fuka, which is considered to be a toxic and abusive ship within the fandom, him not knowing that Toko Fukawa has dissociative identity disorder, and that her and Genisara Sho are two different people, claiming that his lack of understanding of this made him ableist, which I don't fully understand if I'm being honest, and him laughing during the scene of Masaru Diamond self-harming.
Yeah, that's weird. Damn it! Stop! I said stop!
It's the claw!
I'm not scared! I'm not scared of anything!
His hand's gonna take over.
I'm a hero! A hero isn't afraid of anything! He isn't afraid of dying!
My hand's growing right now.
These fans would become so upset that they would try to cancel Bijou Mike over these incidents, resulting in a response from Mike himself via his Twitter. I need to clear this up. I do not ship anyone in Danganronpa, nor do I think abuse is okay. I am not a shipper. I made some comments or light jokes, but that's all they were. Keep in mind these are characters in a video game. This does not in any way, shape, or form reflect real life. So I guess I need to clear something up. I took a screenshot of a comment the other day, because this person claimed that by me saying a few jokes about characters in a video game, that I was seriously promoting real life abuse. This is absolutely insane to me. My real fans know how I grew up and where I come from, so to suggest that I would ever seriously do that is just wrong. I just simply enjoyed the game. I made the fatal mistake of trying to defend myself, but that only spawns more problems. I love Danganronpa and its characters. I'm not into shipping them, I just simply want to enjoy the story. I have made a few jokes about these characters, but that will stop from now on, because it's not worth the toxic fandom. Since this incident, people are trying to dig even further to take things that I've said out of context, and paint me as a person against LGBTQ and probably more. I understand people identify closely with some of these characters, but I do not treat them like real humans. I take mental health seriously and would never shame anyone for having mental health problems. I don't know what else to do to make the haters believe me. Bijou Mike clarified that he does not ship any characters, and is not promoting abuse or discrimination against those with mental health issues, and that what he said during his playthroughs were nothing but jokes or clips being taken out of context. Even admitting that it wasn't worth trying to defend himself or continue with these jokes because of the toxic fandom. Bijou Mike would finish his playthrough of the Danganronpa series, but whether or not he'll play through any new entries is uncertain. Although this wasn't the first time the toxic behavior of the fandom would be put on display. Around the same time as the Bijou Mike drama, the community had multiple documented cases of fans doxing each other, more specifically on TikTok and Discord. In November 2020, a TikTok user had their personal information stolen and posted online, with the alleged reasoning behind the doxing being because they didn't put a spoiler warning in their video. And what makes this incident even worse is that the victim was just a kid. So I just heard the news on TikTok on a couple posts that someone from this fandom got doxed, and that someone is a kid. A kid? Are you kidding me? You're really going to put this kid's life at risk just for not putting a spoiler warning? I recommend you tell them, can you put a spoiler next time instead of doxing them. I don't care if they're a kid, adult, or However, doxing is never okay. That person could get kidnapped, murdered, or other things. This is why you shouldn't dox at all. This kid who got doxed could be in serious danger right now or could be sooner. Multiple other fans would come forward sharing their own accounts of seeing doxing happen within the community. Someone on Discord got doxed because they said Mikon and Junko were overrated and they don't ship Sayumi or Band-Aid. I have a screenshot. I am mutuals with someone on TikTok and they are neurodivergent. They ship a Cillian and are generally one of the sweetest people I have ever met. They were fighting cancer at the time, and it turns out that an Ishimoto shipper doxed them because they ship a Cillian. This fandom is disgusting. The doxing incidents, as it became known in the community, happened over simple disagreements, such as someone supporting a different ship, having a different headcanon, or not enjoying the game the same way as the rest of the fandom. And with this time period being the peak for Danganronpa, having new fans join the fandom, many of which were kids at the time, made these harassment and doxing campaigns even more disturbing. While some fans were willing to harass a YouTuber outside the fandom, the next case shows how popular Danganronpa YouTuber was exposed for allegedly being a predator.
And more screenshots revealed, you ask the person's age and they answer you. They're 15. And your response is, I won't do it in public? How about not doing it at all?
With how popular Danganronpa has become, there are bound to be some creators who solely focus on making content surrounding the game. Dangatubers are YouTubers who do exactly that. Some of these creators have managed to garner over hundreds of thousands to millions of views, and have gained a loyal audience because of their content, with one of these creators being DanganMandy. DanganMandy, or Mandy Lovely, was a prominent Danganronpa YouTuber from 2020 to 2022. She's mostly known for her Danganronpa Iceberg, which is sitting at almost 1 million views, although her other content involving Danganronpa commentaries, news updates, and skits will help her gain a large audience, and at her peak, her channel had amassed nearly 100,000 subscribers. Mandy had become a well-liked creator amongst fans, and had even collaborated with other popular Dangatubers, although it would be some of these collaborators who helped shine the light on Mandy's controversial past. On June 29, 2021, the YouTuber Weepy News would make a post held in regards to the accusations against DanganMandy, where she would state the following. So recently it's been brought to my attention that Mandy has been accused of many things, including and being inappropriate with minors. After reviewing the accusations as well as her response to it, I felt very troubled, especially since in her document she admitted to engaging in ERP, erotic roleplay, with other users without confirming their ages. I decided to confront her about it, and I felt that she was deflecting a lot in her response. Not only this, but some other screenshots from a year and a half ago were brought to my attention that confirmed her engaging in sexually charged conversations with a minor, even after she verified that they were underage. I confronted Mandy once again, and she did not deny that these screenshots were real. She said that she wouldn't be given a statement and that she would be leaving the Danganronpa community indefinitely. I felt that since these are such serious accusations, it's best to let the community know. Also, I felt some sense of responsibility to address this. Since I promoted her on my channel previously, I regret this now. So I will be editing out any times I mentioned her in my videos. I want to make it clear that I do not support her actions, and that I support the victims. From now on, I'll be much more careful with who I feature / promote on my channel. I'm so sorry for not looking into her more before promoting her. She would also post a link to a Google Drive filled with screenshots as evidence, as well as an exposed doc by the victim, and a response doc from Mandy. The victim's doc claimed that Mandy had engaged in erotic sexual roleplay with another user when they were 15, while Mandy was 18. They would share screenshots of the victims and Mandy's Discord messages from 2018 to 2020 as proof. For far too long, the truth about Mandy has been hidden from a good chunk of the Danganronpa fandom. She has since gained a fairly decent fanbase on YouTube, gained thousands of views. Mandy is She has sexted constantly with a minor ever since they were 15. This was a constant thing. Some context before I show screen caps though. Mandy used to go by the name Micro, which is the name of the two screenshots below. The minor involved has asked me to not out them, but everything here is true and verified. In Mandy's doc, she addressed not only the victim's doc but other allegations and claims made against her before she was even a YouTuber, back when she just had a small following on Danganronpa Twitter. Mandy's response doc titled "Atoning into My Past" and addressing what has happened would be over 30 pages long and addressed several of the accusations made against her. Mandy claims that she stopped engaging in the sexual roleplay after finding out the ages of the users. Why she didn't age check beforehand, I have no idea. Although other screenshots that came out would just prove Mandy's claim to be wrong. Even after she had learned the age of the person she was roleplaying with, she still continued to engage in sexting with them. After this information about Mandy had come out, Weeby and multiple other YouTubers within the Danganronpa community would make their own videos and statements condemning Mandy's actions and disassociating themselves from her. Although this information wasn't anything new, as both the victims and Mandy's docs had come out a year earlier in 2020, showing that Mandy had been a known controversial figure in the community before her YouTube blow up. Mandy would take a break from her channel and wouldn't make a video addressing the situation until January of 2022, almost a year after the claims started circulating, in a video titled "The Truth About DanganMandy." In her video, Mandy does confirm that the information in the victim's doc is true, and that the multiple screenshots of her ERPing with minors are real, with all of this happening because of her obsession with erotic roleplay, and that she had been seeking help for her obsession.
When it comes to the truth of the situation, I need to say that I am not a There are many people out there that continue to call me one when that isn't the case at all. The situation that transpired was screenshots shared online of me ERPing with someone under the age of 18 in January 2020. The truth of this is that I would engage in ERP sessions with many people over the years. And when I would ERP, some of these people were under the age of 18, while other people were over the age of 18. This was because I was obsessed with ERPing with others, as it would excite me. I know how disgusting this is, and every time I think about it, it makes me feel sick knowing that I would ERP this much. This is why when you look back at the screenshots, you would see that I ghosted them or tried to ignore them afterwards because I felt sick knowing what I did. This isn't an excuse, but the truth of the situation. I know that I'm not attracted to minors, and you can see that because I would ERP with adults too. After the situation in June happened, I decided to reflect and get help with it. And I'm still getting help even now.
Mandy's video would also clear up any lies and misinformation being spread about her. Following this video, Mandy would continue to post content to her channel and still hold a somewhat loyal fanbase. Although in November that year, Mandy would announce that she would be leaving YouTube indefinitely, her reasoning being her lack of ideas and wanting to focus on herself. She claims that the drama has nothing to do with her leaving, but personally I kinda doubt that, as these type of accusations are just kinda hard for someone to walk away from, and her content took a noticeable dip in viewership after her apology video. Mandy said that she would return if a new Danganronpa game gets announced, and seeing how one got announced in late 2025, and she is still yet to return. I think it's safe to say that DanganMandy probably won't return to the internet anytime soon. While DanganMandy's online reputation has become tainted thanks to her past behavior, she still has a decent sized audience that supports her, although in this next case the actions of one voice actor led to an entire fan project getting cancelled, and started a petition to have them fired from a major studio.
A fan-made project that had amassed millions of views, but was cancelled for incredibly disgusting reasons.
Danganronpa, much like any other fandom, has spawned a plethora of fan-created works, the most popular being fan games, or as they're known in the community as Danganronpas. Probably the most well-known Danganronpa is Project Eden's Garden. Released on December 17, 2022, and developed by Team Eden's Garden, the fan game, much like many others, would follow the original Danganronpa's killing game format and apply it to a new world and a new cast of original characters, telling a whole new story. Project Eden's Garden would quickly gain prominence within the wider Danganronpa community, with many fans praising it for its characters, story, and visuals, as it replicates the original game style very well. Project Eden's Garden was considered by many fans to be one of the best Danganronpas out there, with both the game's prologue and first chapter amassing a total of over 2 million views on YouTube. The game has started to develop its own fandom, garnering massive support from these fans, and with chapter 2 being in development, it seemed like Eden's Garden was going to be another successful fan project, although the game would never be finished as it was cancelled earlier this year in 2026. But why? Why would such a large and prominent fan game suddenly get cancelled this early in development? Well, the reasoning behind its cancellation is a lot more disturbing and concerning than one would think. On March 30th, 2026, a Twitter user would post a link to a Google Doc that would expose that one of the game's voice actors, Faza, also known as Faza, had entered a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old while he was 18 to 19, with this relationship lasting for 4 years. The doc has been updated a lot since its original posting, and I'll be going off the updated version, as that's the one that's widely available. The exposed doc provides screenshots proving the age gap between Faza and the victim, screenshots providing that the two of them did have a public relationship, screenshots of Faza trying to cover up that he was dating a minor as well as trying to make some excuse for it, and a personal statement from the victim confirming that the information is true. The girl seen in the screenshots being shared. I can confirm that the grooming allegations are true. I was underage throughout my entire relationship with Faza, having met him when I was 14. We had only officially begun going out after my 15th birthday, but I can confirm we had begun talking before then. During that relationship, he had shared indecent images of himself, including indecent video calls. He had also been in possession of indecent images of myself despite me being underage. I believe that it's also worth mentioning that I had lent him money multiple times throughout our relationship, as he would often guilt trip me for it. During the early stages of our relationship, a friend had approached me and said that they noticed the nature of our relationship was highly inappropriate. I'm ashamed to admit that back then I was too naive to understand what was going on, and was influenced by him to think nothing bad was going on. My family had never been aware of our age gap, as I purposely had admitted that to them by his request. Minutes before I was informed of what was going on, Faza had found my new socials and tried to follow me. I have since blocked him for my own safety and peace of mind. My best guess is that he had seen the situation blowing up and wanted me to stay silent. I had initially intended on keeping this a secret because I was in shame and terrified of people finding out that I was taken advantage of like this. I know how influential he has become due to his success on Eden's Garden. I was afraid of the consequences of speaking out against a larger public figure. It was a shock to me too that someone in the Eden Garden's team was aware of the situation and kept it secret since 2022. Team Eden's Garden will release a response the same day via the Twitter. We are aware of the recent allegations regarding a member of our voice acting cast. After reviewing the situation, we have made the decision to remove this individual from Project Eden's Garden effective immediately. We will be recasting this role and replacing all existing voice lines in the prologue, chapter 1, and all future chapters. We are reviewing our internal process to ensure we respond appropriately in the future if anything like this ever comes up again. Our team is committed to maintaining a safe environment for both our community and contributors. Thank you to those who raised concerns. As you can see, this response is not good, and 3 days later, on April 2nd, another response to the situation would be made by the team, where they would state that Faza and Soze, their lead writer and creative director who knew about Faza's actions, were fired and removed from the team, and that they were unaware of the situation and were shocked by this revelation. Although this would immediately get blown out of the water, as just a few hours later, a tweet by Team Kilker, another Danganronpa development team, posted a link to a doc that proved that some key figures on the dev team very much knew about Faza and the victim's relationship during those 4 years and did nothing about it. The doc was created by a former Project Eden's Garden writer named Rebus, and was shared screenshots that proved at least 3 major developers on the team, including the game's lead director, Takeo, knew about the allegations before they were made public, and that they misled other members about the truth of these allegations, and would even go as far as to mock and dismiss them as petty drama. The doc is nearly 50 pages long, but the basic rundown is that 3 members of the team, Takeo, the lead developer, Soze, the lead writer and creative director, and Fire, another writer on the team, were informed about Faza's relationship with the victim by Agi, a voice actor for one of the game's characters, who was also a minor at the time. Although her concerns were brushed off despite them being shown the evidence that was shared in the victim's doc. The allegations were being downplayed and presented as, quote, a group of 15/16-year-olds trying to be petty, with the team wanting to prioritize the success of their game more so than protecting the minor. I mean, they literally took the leaking of character spray more seriously than accusations. Takeo would be removed from the Project Eden Gardens team, although this did very little to salvage the game's reputation, as following the April 2nd doc, nearly the entire voice cast and other developers on the project would quit, as well as multiple plot elements and assets for the game leaking, resulting in Eden's Garden being cancelled soon after, with seemingly no chance of being revived. Faza would post a statement regarding the accusations and made an apology video. To spare you all the details, it's nothing. He claims that there was no malicious intentions behind the relationship, but based off all the evidence, he clearly knew that this was wrong and would actively go out of his way to try and hide it. Faza's also not some glupshido voice actor either, as he's had some pretty prominent roles, especially within the Indonesian dubbing side of the industry, as he's done the Indonesian dub voice for characters like Superman, Rudo Surbek, and probably his biggest being one of the Saja boys from K-pop Demon Hunters. A petition has been made to get him fired from the dubbing studio he works for, and blacklisted from the industry, with it sitting at over 20,000 signatures. I highly recommend that y'all sign this petition because someone like him shouldn't have such a large platform where he could potentially do this again. Faza's actions have definitely left an impact on both the victim and the Danganronpa community, but thankfully his behavior stayed online and never escalated into real life, although in the next case the actions of a popular cosplayer resulted in the death of an 18-year-old. Cosplaying is one of the most popular ways fans can express their appreciation for their favorite IP, with multiple different fandoms having their own adjacent cosplaying community. During Danganronpa's 2020 resurgence, cosplaying as one of the franchise's characters became extremely popular, especially on TikTok. Multiple cosplayers would post videos of themselves dancing while in Danganronpa cosplay, with many of them gaining a large following, although the most prominent of these creators was a cosplayer known as Yandere Freak, or Snow the Salt Queen. Snow was mostly known for their Danganronpa cosplays, with the most popular being their cosplay of Junko Enoshima. They had managed to gain a fairly large following thanks to their cosplays, and had become known both within and outside of the Danganronpa community, although Snow would soon start to become a controversial figure online. In February of 2019, Snow would post pictures and videos to their Instagram of themselves cosplaying as Mikan, with these posts depicting them in a cemetery posing next to real people's graves. Snow would be seen posing near the graves or on the actual tombstones, just overall treating the cemetery as nothing but a backdrop for their post. Snow would obviously receive a ton of backlash for this, with the response being to block those who were critical of them, as well as downplay the entire situation, not really seeing what they did as wrong, as well as the photographer trying to defend the photos, claiming that they had permission and that they weren't disturbing any of the graves, and that they were being super respectful when taking the pictures, which I find that kinda hard to believe when you're putting your bare ass on someone's gravestone. The post in Snow's Instagram account would be deleted not long after, although this wasn't the only controversy Snow had gotten into, as later that year Snow would start selling her own Junko Enoshima legitimate wigs for $300. Many would complain about how overpriced the wigs were and their overall poor quality, as well as being ghosted by Snow afterwards. The YouTuber Yandere would document their interactions with Snow and the process of her wig arriving, where her friend paid the $300 only for the wig to be allegedly stolen, and then paid again for a second wig only for the first one to arrive not properly packaged and not styled in any way. However, these incidents were very minor compared to what would happen just 2 years later. On January 17th, 2021, while at a house party, Snow would get drunk with some friends, with one of these friends being another TikTok cosplayer named Helen. The group would eventually start watching the show Gotham, where Snow would talk about having a gun like the character Penguin, before grabbing a pistol left by their ex-boyfriend. They would take out the magazine before the group started to play pretend with it. One of Snow's friends suggested that they point the gun at them as a joke, with Helen later suggesting the same. Snow, still believing that the gun was unloaded, would point to the left side of Helen's head, and the gun would go off. Helen would be rushed to the hospital and put in life support, but unfortunately there wasn't much else that could be done, and 2 days later she was taken off life support and pronounced dead. Nobody outside Snow's friend group knew about what actually happened, and believed that Helen had taken her own life, but the truth about what actually occurred would come out, and Snow and the other friends would start to be questioned by police. Snow would admit to playing with the gun, but due to them being extremely drunk, he didn't know it was loaded. If you're wondering how the gun fired without a magazine, if you rack the slide, a bullet would enter the chamber ready to fire, regardless of if the magazine is taken out. And since the group was intoxicated, they probably didn't bother to check the chamber. Snow would soon be arrested and charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder, with their bail being set at $20,000, which was actually paid. They would then take a break from social media, although they would return and post videos of them cosplaying as Mikan, Himiko Toga, and Ayano Ashi, which is definitely not a good look for them considering the type of characters that they are. When the mainstream media came out with the news, people quickly turned on Snow for good and awaited their court date. Snow would be sentenced to 100 hours of community service and 5 years of supervised release, essentially just getting a slap on the wrist for manslaughter. They would eventually return to TikTok once again, but the damage this caused to their reputation and Helen's family is immeasurable, with Snow's actions earning them the nickname of the real-life Junko Inoshima. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you think I've earned your subscription, then go ahead and subscribe. It's free and you'll be able to undo it at any time. If you would like to see me talk about the disturbing side of another visual novel, check out my videos on the most disturbing incidents that happened in the Doki Doki Literature Club fandom. If you have any suggestions as to what fandom or community I should cover next, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, I'll see y'all in the next video.